Let me overstop it here. I'll switch it.
That thing takes pictures in hardly any light at all.
Oh, so is that one.
Yeah.
The thing is, see, it has a little lens. This is catching more glass. But I was looking over the whole tape thing, and there was a couple things I meant to ask you about. I didn't take a chance to write them down, but if you can look over that tape, you're going to find little tiny references to things that are pretty interesting. So tell me about the weekend then.
Huh?
So what did you do this weekend?
Oh, this weekend. Are you recording now?
Yeah.
All right. This weekend we went up to Bev Morgan's 75th birthday party, but he's only 74. Next year it's going to be 80, so he's going to try to make it to 100. I told him I hope he lives to be 100, and I'm the last guy he talks to before he cacks.
So Bev Morgan was a big dude, and twice. Huh?
He's a big guy in the industry, yeah.
No, I thought because you make reference to him being a sissy for the name a couple different times, and you said
much bigger than us, but I just said with a name like Beverly, you know, the two of us would go down there and beat him up.
Because okay, so your brother is sending money back to his fiancée, and it turns out that it's Bev Morgan's girlfriend while your brother's gone. So did you guys have it out before you settled up to be partners about that, or is it?
No, I never even saw him. The next thing I know, I'm in business with him. Bill went down and talked to him.
Well, I'm saying, was he pissed that his fiancée ended up?
No, he said if you ever get a divorce, I'll take it. Thanks for taking her off my hands.
Ah!
If you ever get a divorce, I'll help you take the alimony. And I reminded him that he came back. And he says, you owe me $700. And I said, no, I'm a good bookkeeper. You owe me $600. He said, well, let's flip a coin for it. So we flipped a coin. He yelled heads, and it turned up tails. He started jumping up and down and said, I won. I said, no, you lost. You claimed heads, Bill claimed tails, we won. And he liked to cry. I remind him of, he was putting together a fold-up boat. Have you ever seen those fold-up boats? They've been around for 50 years. And they're still...
Oh, those ones that are really super flat?
Yeah, they just fold up.
Yeah.
So you can put them on the side of a motorhome or on top of a motorhome. And so he bought one of those, and we were going to sell them. And he's putting it together, and we said, let us help you. No, it's supposed to be able to put together with one guy. And he started yelling and screaming. We ran out there, and he had his thumb caught in one of the ribs, you know, and he couldn't get his thumb out. And if we hadn't been there, he would have been in a lot of trouble.
Well, the guy I like that you told me about was the guy that wanted to commit suicide because he couldn't hold his camera when he was scuba diving. Which guy was that?
No, that was the guy that owned this boat.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He just wasn't feeling good, and he was a multi-millionaire all his life. And he says, you know, if I get in my mother's condition, or even before that, I'm going to cack myself out.
So, Bob, when you first started this with the scuba diving and stuff, there was a lot of playboys, a lot of boating, rich kids and stuff that played into this.
Not very many. No, not very many. I didn't know any.
So it was journeyman. It was basically a utilitarian thing.
Like I used to have a harder time getting people in Palos Verdes financed than I did in Redondo Beach, because the people in Palos Verdes at that time were already living their ability to make enough money to pay for the places. The people out in Redondo, that you could get their credit checked out just like this.
Well, they always said that the people in PV were cash poor, and that as far as income, Hollywood Riviera, I think, is one of the highest around here, isn't it?
But out in Redondo, North Redondo, those people come in, and I'd sell them a dial financing to finance as low as $300 or $400, $500, and their credit go right through. Whereas the people up there, a lot of them, you couldn't get them financed.
So with the diving thing, people would kick into the lessons, and they'd rent the equipment. So just like skiing.
Well, a lot of them would buy the equipment.
Well, would they buy it right up front and then take the lessons?
Sometimes people came in and bought the whole shebang. Right,
and they never used it and sat in there.
Oh yeah, no, they became good divers, and still a few of them around. You know.
What I mean, would a lot of people buy the stuff and then like 5 years later come back and sell it to you for 5 cents on the dollar?
No, well, some people did that, but like there's one guy that came in one time, and air cards were $7.50 for 12 air refills, and they're usually $12. So he bought a $750 worth of air cards, 100 of them, and he was a big contractor in South Bay, and all him and his buddies were going to die. Well, every time I'd see him, I said, "When are you going to come down and
use up some of your cards?" Yeah.
He couldn't bring them back and get cash because they were on sale. See.
Sure.
So that was the deal. You bought them at $7.50, and we had them marked $7.50. You couldn't get a refund on them. So he says, I'll be down there. And every once in a while he would come in and buy all new gear because it had all been stolen or he loaned it or something. He'd buy all new gear and start diving for a month or so, and then business would get bad and he had to work really hard, and he'd drop out. And then about 5 years later he'd come in again, you know. It's really kind of like that. People are kind of, they do it on the spur of the moment, and then they kind of drop off for a while, and then they start diving again. And surfing is about this. Some people take 2 or 3 years off and then they start surfing again.
So do injuries jack people up? They twist their back and stuff and they have to get out of surfing?
No, I don't think so.
So surfing is fairly holistic, like you were saying, the chiropractor, when you your mother had as your primary care physician.
Well, that was before we came out here.
I know, but the premise that you be in the water.
Yeah.
So as a sport, scuba and surfing are kind of the same vibe. I mean, obviously you're in the water and everything.
Well,
is the same.
I think diving is a more pure sport than surfing, because you notice surfers have to have the nicest looking surfboards and the best looking suits and everything, and it's more of a show-off sport because you can see them out there. Whereas diving, when you jump in the water, you can't already tell an instructor from the student.
And it's solitary.
Unless you put a yellow hood or a red hood on a guy.
Now, your business was mostly sport fishing, or did you do the...
No,
like,
not fishing at all.
I mean, sport scuba, I'm sorry.
Yeah, diving.
But what about the welders and the underwater construction and stuff?
We didn't do any of that. That's commercial diving.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that we taught to dive went into commercial diving. Yeah. They wanted to make some money, and I tried to discourage them for them because it's not a very lucrative. You know, you get hurt.
But underwater welding is horrendously expensive. Yeah. You make good money in that, but it's really dangerous,
but
right?
You get bent up, and you're tired, and like Ted Davis worked at Marineland, and you know, I mean, you could just see him age every year because he worked out there. He worked there 5 days a week.
Did you ever see the pictures of Lincoln before he was president and then after? I mean, he was a relatively dynamic young guy, and then, I mean, they said nothing ages you like being president.
Bush, he's ages tons in it.
Yeah.
And Clinton did too.
Well, the thing that was amusing to me about Clinton in a kind of a sick way was right after the airplanes hit the towers, Chelsea was jogging around there, and I guess Hillary didn't know where she was immediately, but he knew that he screwed up. So the look on his face, you know how he's Teflon, no matter what he said, I did not have sex with that woman, all the scandals, all the stuff, didn't hit him. I saw in his face the gloom that he knew that he had the opportunity to kill bin Laden, and there was those United Arab Emirates princes there. They had a Predator, a remote plane with a Hellfire on it, and they were talking to Clinton, and they said, basically they wanted his authority to kill.
Well, they were trying to talk to him. He was at a golf tournament.
Ah, is that what it was?
There's the guy that carried the suitcase for Clinton, the thing he carries with all the computer and everything.
Football, they call it.
The football. Well, he said that he called Clinton 3 times at the golf tournament, and his press secretary or something says, well, he doesn't want to be bothered. He said, would you tell him it's very important? And he said, I'll get back to him when I get a chance. And he kept delaying it for 3 times, and then they finally said the window of opportunity is gone.
Because it was after, I think, the coal got bombed. I think it was something after Americans had already been killed, and that they, he put a target on the guy's head, and then they found him. They had irrefutable proof that it was bin Laden. The guy's 6'6" and he's on dialysis.
Well, they had him.
They had him, and they let him go. And what I understand during Clinton's watch, that at the beginning, when bin Laden only had 2,000 people in Afghanistan. When Clinton started, he had 20,000 when he was done. And if he missed the opportunity to kill him, that's a trip, dude. I heard that he was actually in communication, but he literally ignored it.
He would never answer the phone. You can read the guy's book. He wrote a book about it. He was an Air Force colonel, and he has no axe to grind or anything. And he came out with this book, and he says, we called him 3 times, and the 3rd time, we didn't get him immediately. We weren't going to get that out.
Well, remember the thing under Ford where the CIA got caught, where the thing about assassination and they made it illegal? They repealed that because they said, would you not kill Hitler if he was available today? And there was, remember those Polish guys that killed Hitler's #1 guy who was like the best organizational mind, genius guy who was a violin player and everything? These 2 Polish guys got parachuted in there, and they ambushed the guy, and they shot him with shotguns, and the seat actually contaminated him. He died from blood poisoning like 2 weeks later. But they assassinated one of Hitler's top guys, and it totally devastated Hitler. Yeah. So if they could have got bin Laden, that's mind-boggling. Golf tournament, huh?